Hey everyone, Rain here. It is, oh gosh, Tuesday, and I hope you're all having a good start to the week. It is raining like crazy, and in the mid to upper 50s yesterday and today, so all of our snow has melted and everything is just wet and flooded. Some of the streets are flooded around here, and our sump pump is working overtime. Our neighbor's yard is like a swimming pool. And if you've been watching my channel for a while or happen to have caught an old video where I told you about an experience that I had, I was here by myself. My husband and his daughter were off camping, and the power went out, and we received the most rain that had been received in 30 years in this area in one day. I think we got 7 or 8 inches in a 24-hour period, and our backup battery for our sump pump died about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours into it, and the basement flooded, and the generator was stuck inside of a electric garage that had the door barricaded, and things just sort of unfolded from there. So I think I have trauma from that experience. Literally, if one thunder roll happens, I will sit upright out of a dead sleep, and I dream about everything being underwater, and yeah. So I'm constantly checking the basement. Our power is on though. So anyway, so I am on here because I have my typical neuroses that happen, and I know that, you know, none of us are ever really alone in the things that we experience. And so I wanted to ask, or just sort of like share my thoughts over the last couple of days and see if anybody else has any input or can relate, or if not, just talk, because, you know, to be honest, I never really know if anybody's going to watch or not, and that's fine. So, so my 3 boys are here. I have Norman, who is my Leah kit. He was my first starter reborn. He is for sale. And then my Ellie Sue, she has been sold. Her new mom is making payments, and she should be leaving me at the beginning of March. So, but my 3 keeper babies that are in my collection, I have Ronan here. Ronan is the Reborn Clyde asleep. He's the littlest guy in the bunch. I have my gorgeous Niklaus here. He's the Atticus sculpt from Laura Lee Eagles. And then I have my brand new and lovely Keanu, who is the Reborn Dominic kit from Bountiful Baby. All 3 from different artists. I've definitely talked about that before. Also joining us today, because I love this stuffed animal, and I think it kind of maybe speaks a little bit to how I talk myself through these moments that I have. Man, I don't think I ever named this bird. Might have been Birdie. This is a stuffed vulture. It's a stuffed turkey vulture, which is so funny to me. I got it at the some state park or national park in the Smoky Mountains when we were vacationing with friends, I think in September. And the wings have little weighted spots in them, so they hang, and he's soft as velvet. And I just, oh my gosh, like that's not a cuddly animal, right? Like a vulture. And I just had to have it, and I just loved it. And actually, this stuffed animal is so huggable because of the shape of his neck. So Ronan is cuddling up with my stuffed vulture, which is not something most people would see as cuddly. And hang on, I have something else here too. I kind of call this one Legs. Legs is a stuffed tarantula, Thai brand. I had a horrible case of arachnophobia from about 16 years old, maybe 14 or 15 years old. And I actually, if I think back on it, I kind of talked myself into it becoming stronger. But it was so bad that I couldn't even look at the word spider. I would have to, if I became like obsessed and searched something, and then I needed to get it off my screen. There have been a time or two where I had someone come and change the, close the window on my computer because I just couldn't. And that was in my early 20s. And then somewhere in my mid-20s, everything started to shift, and my appreciation for life and not destroying life because I'm afraid of it started to change. And spiders followed me forever, for years. They would drop out of the ceiling into the books I was reading. My mom would walk in my room and they'd be hanging over my face at night, while I'm laying in bed sleeping, just dangling there. I've had a lot of really interesting encounters, and it turned into this really like strange love. And I know that when you have a deep fear of something in the animal kingdom, sometimes it's called a shadow totem. And a shadow totem that carries a lot of fear with it has deep messages and meanings for you. But until you face that fear and push through it, those secrets aren't necessarily revealed. So that's kind of a cool side note. And then I also have Dolly, who just sort of got named Dolly. Dolly was on one video a long time ago. Here, she's going to creep some people out. That's okay. My husband did not want to buy this for me. We went to New Orleans, and I just fell in love with this doll. And I know that it's, dare I say that she's ugly and she's scary. Well, that's what a lot of people feel. And to me, she's just so cool and adorable. And I know that she's ugly, but that's part of what I love about her. And I also don't know how to describe this one. She's a one-of-a-kind made by an artist that is the only one that makes voodoo dolls that look like this, and they're only available in one store exclusively in New Orleans. And she was the only one out of about 20 that they had there that I was drawn to. And she is, I identify with her. She, like the inner parts that people don't see. And she's cool. So I brought my like less than cuddly friends out for this video. So I think I'm going to change two of the babies while I talk. I don't want to change. I really don't want to change Ronan out of that outfit because it's really cute and I don't feel like I've gotten enough cuddle time with him. So you know what? I'm not going to change them. No, I think I'm just going to talk to you guys. Yeah. No, I'll change them because I'm just going to put it over that. All right, sorry for the indecision. So I talked, and my last video I think was a review of these three babies and their differences and talking about how much I love them. I'm going to put my two Reborns in matching outfits. Now, Keanu came with this brand new Carter's outfit. And then I also already have separately the sweatsuit and sweatshirt from Carter's that have the same pattern. Now, this boy here, Keanu, hey, we're going to go ahead and move you, Klaus, just for a moment. He'll be back, my sweet boy. I'm going to move him just so I can change him. Now, I changed Keanu into... we went out yesterday, so he wore this outfit, this button-down onesie from Wrangler. And I was putting on some stretchy jean leggings on him, and I tried on two of those and a pair of sweatpants that were size newborn. And this boy has a chunky butt. He is a thick baby. So these sweatpants that he's in right now are 3-month. So he's going to wear the sweatsuit. And I'm going to put Ronan in the newborn one piece. And they'll just be matching just for a day or two. We'll see. I love the way that Keanu feels in this too, but anyway. So the progression of my Reborns, I bought Norman and very quickly after found Niklaus's artist. Because of a listing she had for her first Atticus that she made that I flipped over. And long story short, I didn't win that auction. It was astronomically high, and I ended up getting I got my hands on an Atticus kit, and I ended up getting a custom from her that was very similar. And he's not the same. And I have to tell you, I love him, and he's a beautiful baby, but he's not the same doll that I fell in love with. There's differences. The haircut is different. Maybe the eye positioning or the placement of the stork bite. He's not beautiful in the same way. He's beautiful differently. So I had Norman and Niklaus, and I bought my stepdaughter a baby, and then I went to get her a second baby, which was Ellie Sue. And when she got here and I took a look at her and the way she was weighted and her unique look, I decided that she wasn't she just wouldn't be appreciated or as easy to be careful with for a young girl. So I was going to sell her, but then I loved her too much and was going to sell Norman, and then my stepdaughter saw that that was kind of sad, and so she lobbied for Norman to stay, and so then I had the 3 babies. So Norman, but then I found Ronan, and I don't know why I was shopping. I rarely know why I'm shopping for babies when I do, but I found Ronan, and I really wanted him, and I decided that Ellie Sue, although absolutely gorgeous and one of my favorite sculpts ever, you know, my overall want for collecting these babies was boys and sleepers, so I decided to sell Ellie Sue. And then, right after I bought Ronan, a doll that I had seen from an artist that was supposed to be, I believe, or I thought, for her personal collection, but got sold to someone else, and I had never bothered to ask if she was selling that baby, came up for adoption. And it was like, you know, days after I decided. We'll keep your feet out for now. Okay. So then I just started feeling like Norman hasn't been taken out since, Ronan's going to keep the sleeper on. We're just going to put this on top. Everybody's going to be nice and toasty. It's very damp here. Come here, babe. I decided that Norman had not been out since I had gotten Ronan. And he was just sitting there. And I just didn't feel like I wanted to play with him anymore. He just wasn't the direction I was going anymore. You know, once you start to see, you know, different styles and qualities of painting, sometimes that shifts. And so I decided that I was going to look for a replacement for him. And I really was going to go for a hyper newborn with scratches and rooted hair. I was thinking sleeping, then I was thinking awake. I wasn't really sure. I was looking at the Luxe kit. And then unexpectedly I met this guy. And I wasn't like insanely crazy about the kit. Who was it that just said, was it Christina's Reborn? Somebody just said this morning, like with the Reborns, their faces are adorable, but the hands are not as convincing, and I agree. But something about, and now he had painted hair, and I prefer rooted hair. So I saw him, I was really drawn to him, and then I decided I was not going to buy him, and then I couldn't get him out of my head. And I decided to go for it, and I bought him, and I love him, and he's amazing. Boy, Ronan, you are tiny. Take a look. I mean, his legs will barely stay in here. We have to really play these cute little bears. All right, guys. Yeah. Maybe we'll take a look at you together. And then we're going to bring Niklaus back in. So, literally like 48 hours after I committed to buying him, can't remember, it might have been after I sent the money, that baby popped up again. That, like I had fallen in love with back in November or December. And he's a sculpted kit, not a Reborn. He's rooted hair. He's from an artist that I really admire. And I was like, you just have to let it go. So I decided to let it go, and I did, and I just started appreciating, I just really accepted the fact that you're never going to have, there's always going to be something that you would want differently with one doll, or there's always going to be another amazing baby out there, and you just can't have them all. You just can't. And Tasha, you said that too. You just can't have them all. So, I'm done with the shopping and all that for right now. I just, it gets inside my head. So I just decided to love them and appreciate them and accept the fact that there's always going to be more amazing babies and different styles. And gosh, you're so cute. Oh, you match them. And then, so a family member yesterday made a comment about one of these babies. I'm not going to say which one, but they said they really didn't like that baby. Let's see if we can come over here so you can see Niklas's face. Cute. And I just thought, well, consider the source, right? They don't really like reborns anyway. They couldn't put their finger on why, but they really didn't. And then I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about painting styles and newer techniques versus older techniques, and different ways that every artist handles different details, and all the changes and things that keep coming out. And then so last night I'm laying in bed thinking about this doll, which has now found a new home, and how just am I feeling unrest? Am I feeling like I should have gone for uber high quality dolls instead of my two Reborns? Should I have I don't know how to define it, but I just kept feeling like, and then I thought, well, can I separate my feelings for my babies from what my family member said and stuff? Because I love these boys. I really do. And I know that, Niklaus is like he better be good, because he certainly costed a lot. But even him, he's not perfect. He's pretty close, but so then it's like, do I feel like my collection is good enough? I certainly, let me just be clear here, I don't feel criticized or judged by anybody in the community. And whether or not I am criticized and judged, if I am, it takes place privately, and so it's none of my business. You know what I mean? I have to trust that people are honest and genuine with me until I have a reason to believe not. And if I don't have a problem with you, then whatever problem you have or opinion you have of me is really none of my business until you choose to address it with me. We're still cool. It doesn't change anything. But that being said, I've never felt judged or criticized for my collection from anybody. So it's all in my own head. But I guess I started thinking, competing with myself almost. And I wondered, does anybody else feel that? I noticed that with all of these babies, I'm very careful with pictures that I take. There's at least one body part on each of these dolls that I prefer not to be front and center in a photo. And why is that? It's an accurate depiction of what the baby looks like. So so much of putting your practicing your hobby publicly is for reception and presentation and stuff like that. But for me, I had to really become conscious, and I think it's like that with everything in my life. I have to become conscious of where my thoughts are and what my motivations are and stuff like that, because I don't think that my inner thoughts like that would jeopardize my quote unquote bond with the babies once I have it. But then again, I want to be careful that that's not the case. You know, if, let's say, for example, my husband says, I love this baby and I don't like that baby, would I be less loving, quote unquote, loving toward the baby doll around him or not? No, I would not, but that's just me. But it's just a good example of that. You know, I guess another question is, do you fear that if you have differing styles, flaws, or differing looks in the babies that you have chosen, and each of these were choices of the heart for me. I looked at a prototype baby that was a choice of the mind, a super awesome opportunity. It was good investment, absolutely gorgeous work, dream artist, incredible baby. But I didn't look at it and say, oh my gosh, I need that. That's my baby. You know, like there's differences. So do you ever feel like you would be affected by other people's opinions of, or your expectations or suppositions or perception of what other people's opinions of your dolls might be? I don't know. I feel like on the surface or on the outside, this is, everything is from my perspective, right? This is my life experience. I only know what I know, and I can listen to other people to learn about what they know. I feel like most of us, maybe on the surface, would not be affected by that and would say, to each his own, and it's my damn collection, and I like what I like, and your opinion is yours, and blah, blah, blah. But on the inside, you know, things can get in there like little ants, like little carpenter ants or little termites, and like eat away at you. Unless you're aware of that. And it's not just about collecting dolls, it's really about people's opinions of us in general, you know. Like I watch my husband, and he is, you know, in direct contact on a regular basis with his ex-wife because he shares custody of his daughters, and they obviously didn't like each other or they would have stayed married, and it's been a struggle to get as far as we have in the positivity of the relationship. But up until this point, and it's been over 6 years, you know, I admired his ability to still speak his mind and to still be who he is, even knowing that, like, pretty much she hated him, thought he was a joke, and badmouthed him to everybody, you know, and the kids were exposed to that too. And then to still walk in there and still pick up the phone every night and ask to speak to the kids and speak to them on speaker, knowing that during that, you know, that difficult emotional time, that he, you know, he was probably being mocked or at least loathed. Like, I think that would be hard for a lot of us. So if you look at it like that, like if you see your reflection as your collection as a reflection of you, and then if you think that you're, you know, being compared, like your collection is being compared, or if you're comparing your collection to other people's, you know, would it affect your willingness to show externally your love for your choices? So we're 24 minutes in, and I have absolutely no idea if I've made any sense at all. I'm sitting here trying to figure out, you know, how I can, you know, I'm truly convinced that, that there's so many dolls are acquired by so many of us because we're just looking like, you know, if I only add one more, you know, I'll know exactly what I'm going for perfectly. And I just, you know, for me, I just don't think that's the case. Like, I know for sure that the prototype Lux from Irina from Russia. Like, dream baby. I fell in love with that baby. Like, I would love to have that baby in my collection, and I really could see myself being in exactly the same spot, you know, 2 months after getting that doll. So anyway, at the end of the day, I am extremely happy with these babies. They all satisfy something different. Ronan is a tiny little pipsqueak who has a lot of realism, particularly in his face close up. He has rooted hair, and he's got great detailing, and his skin tone and his skin texture are absolutely incredible. And he looks like what my child would look like with my husband. Niklaus is my dream baby, or he's my dream baby, like version 2. And he was a labor of love, and he was really like manifestation come true, because he was way out of my reach, and I figured out a way to make it happen. And he is weighted perfectly, and he moves perfectly, and he's just sort of like my otherworldly baby. I love him. And Keanu is my newest boy, and he is my peace bringer, and his face to me is so realistic, and he is heavy, and he lays there nicely, and he just is a quiet doll that just, I don't know how to define it, and I don't know if it's the sculpt or it's the care that was put into him by his artist that I'm feeling, but there's something special about him in terms of being so peaceful. So I wouldn't give any of them up. I really wouldn't. So I don't regret any of my decisions. And I just always am reflecting and seeing where my weaknesses and my areas for growth are. And I have definitely noticed that it is a conscious and constant effort on my part to be aware when I'm being self-conscious, and I'm being when I'm comparing myself to others or something like that. I'm not comparing myself to others, but I think you know what I mean. You know, not taking things personally, or not being paranoid. That's it, being paranoid about what somebody else might be thinking, or I don't know how to define it, but I think that I heard something once from a life coach. It was like the first life coach I ever met. I met her through a colleague, and she said, like, truth and fear can't exist in the same place at the same time. She was one of those that taught that there was really only like love and fear, and but that if you look at the fear, we'll say the fear, but so if you look at the fear, or you look at the weakness, but you look at it straight in its face, like sort of like looking at your bank account, or looking at your budget, or looking at your debt. Look at it, you know, instead of avoiding it because it made you feel sick or made you feel afraid. Like, even if just for that one instant while you're speaking the truth, that fear goes away. So I try to be honest with myself and see where I'm at. And my husband doesn't want to hear me yammer on all the time about this stuff. You know, he already gets it. And so if I talked to him about this for 28 minutes, he would be over it so fast. So he's awesome, but it's nice to be able to have another outlet to talk about it. So anyway, thank you guys who made it here to the end. Super long video. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing your babies and to hearing your thoughts or your experiences, if you have any to add, down in the comments below. Other than that, I look forward to talking with you soon, coming back on to make another video. That's it for me. Bye from the boys.